kaliisoliiso wa gavumenti okwanjulira eggwanga ng'ayita mu Parliament emirimu gy'akoze oba emirimu ekitongole kya kaliisoliiso wa gavumenti kyekikoze emirundi 2 buli mwaka, ekitegeeza nti buli myezi 6 kaliisoliiso wa gavumenti akakatibwa okwanjulira eggwanga ng'ayita mu Parliament emirimu gy'akoze. Era olwaleero tuleese report eya emyezi 12 omukaaga okuva mu July okutuuka mu December omwaka ogwayita ogw'2023 ne mukaaga okuva mu January okutuuka mu June ey'omwaka guno ogw'2024. Era mu nsonga ze twanjulidde ow'ekitiibwa siipika wa Parliament tumutegeezezza nti mu myaka gino 12 tusobodde tufunye okwemulugunya oba okuwaaba okuvudde mu bantu kye tuyita complaints okuvudde mu bantu 139 mu myezi 6 egyasooka, ate mujjaddako ne ziba 1,659. Ekitegeeza nti mu mwaka tufunye okwemulugunya kumpi 2,000 okuva mu bantu 2,000 ng'okwemulugunya era nga mulimu n'okukozesa obubi kati we butasasula. Waliwo abantu ba pensioners abaawumula abatasasulibwa ssente zaabwe, mulimu abantu abatafuna misaala gyabwe, abantu abayisibwa obubi ku mirimu. Okwemulugunya okwo kwonna n'abakozi ba gavumenti bakuleeta ewa kaliisoliiso, okubba ssente za gavumenti, ebyo byonna. Era bwe bitutuukako tunoonyereza, era nga tukoze okunoonyereza okusukka mu kwegamba mwaka guno okuwerera ddala nga2,500, ekitegeeza nti tuleese 5 ebyasigalayo mu mwaka guli ne twongerako ku 2,000 ze tufunye omwaka guno, ne tuba nga tunoonyereza ku bintu ku nsonga ezatuleeterwa kumpi 2,500. Ezimu zigwera mu kooti, era ziri mu kooti, abamu ba kooti egubasalira nti gubasinze, ate abalala ne tuteeseza wabweru wa kooti ne tukkaanya nti basasule essente ze baatwala bazizeewo, ate oluusi ne tubawa ne ku bintu byabwe. Kati ebyo byonna bye biri mu ripooti eno. Ssente ze twalagira zikomezebwewo, ebintu by'abantu bye twabowa ebiwerera ddala obuwumbi bungi obwa ssente, ate n'abantu betutwala mu kooti n'abantu naddala ng'aba pension n'abatasasulibwa betulagira nti basasulibwe ssente zaabwe ezibabanjibwa, ezo kumpi obuwumbi 8 obwakozesebwa bwe tulagidde abantu ba pensioni basasulibwe. So emirimu emirala gye tukoze mubeeramu okusomesa abantu, era ndooza omulimu guno tugukoze nnyo. Mubadde muwulira ttiimu zaffe nga ziri ku radio, nga ziri ku TV, nga ziri mu bantu, nga tubategeeza nti luno lutalo olw'okulwanyisa obulwanguzi lufuuke lutalo lwa buli muntu, so si lutalo lwa kitongole kyaffe kyokka, si lutalo lwa gavumenti, naye buli munnayuganda yenyigire mu lutalo olw'okulwanyisa enguzi. Era abantu baffe basaasaanye nnyo mu Uganda. Omulimu omulala gwe tukoze gubadde gwa kulondoola bitongole bya gavumenti projects za gavumenti ezikolebwa era tulambudde projects ezisukka mu 1,000 guno omwaka emyezi gire 12 tulambudde projects za gavumenti ezisukka mu 1,000 era nga bwe tusangayo ebizibu mubadde musoma mu mawulire abantu bakwatiddwa abantu bagobeddwa ku mirimu abantu bawumuziddwa olw'okubanga tebatuukiriza buvunaanyizibwa bwabwe okutwalira awamu era twanjulidde sipiika nga twagala batuwe ssente tumalirize ekizimbe kyaffe kubanga tukozesa ssente nnyingi nnyo mu kupangisa ekizimbe so nga ate tutadde ssente nnyingi nnyo gavumenti mu kuzimba ekizimbe ezibulayo kukimaliriza ze ntono bwe tutakimaliriza ze tutaddemu tezituyamba ate ne tugenda mu maaso nga tukyapangisa kale tusabye sipiika atwongere ku ssente batuwe ssente tumalirize ekizimbe ate tuve mu nkola yaffe eya digital eya analog oba bakiyita batya mu Luganda tudde mu nkola eya kalimagezi digital kalimagezi mu mirimu gyaffe ekyo nga tukyetaagisa obukadde bwa $10 okukola omulimu ogwo ndowooza z'ensonga zetwanjulidde eggwanga olunaku lwaleero involvement by the public in exposing corruption and in fighting corruption. And yes, definitely, we would like to take credit for making Ugandans get involved in the war against corruption. The amounts are very small actually, because most of the money is in salaries and operating costs, electricity, water, vehicles, but the actual funds that are allocated for operations, for real work, is very minimal. And that's what we are raising with the Speaker, that we really need to be facilitated. We have a structure, we have personnel, we have facilities, but the resource to do the investigative work is highly limited. And that's what we have been saying all the time, that we need. The more resources you put in, obviously, is the more you can recover. Two, the judicial system in Uganda also requires, the burden of proof is very high indeed. You must prove beyond reasonable doubt that the person committed an act. And I want to tell you that it is very, very difficult. But we call upon, we investigate what we receive from the public. We call upon the public to give us more information. I have told the public, you are the people out there who know how public servants live their lives or spend public money. So share with us that information. We have even told the people that there's a 5% allowance or motivation for whistleblowers on funds that have been recovered out of the action of whistleblowing. But I can tell you that very few people have come forward or to claim money, because we don't get enough evidence to get these people convicted in court. Njagala njibategeeze nti it is a partnership between ffe abayigga abali b'enguzi n'abantu abali eyo abamanya engeri gye bakozesaamu ssente. Kati omuntu bw'aba nga yatute ssente n'azijja mu kitongole kya gavumenti n'agenda n'azimba moolo ku kaalo ke waffe e Bulongo Kooki oba Karamojja, nze siina bwe mmanya okuggyako nga muliraanwa we oba muganda we oba omuntu akimanyi yazze n'ambuulira. So lifestyle audit tukize tukinnyonnyola is a partnership between ffe abalina authority n'abantu aba bulijjo abalina information. Bwe tutakolera wamu lifestyle audit ekaluba. N'olwekyo tukubiriza abantu batuleetere ki? Batuleetere information. Ekyokubiri kye wabuuzizza wagambye nti ki? Sandibayise babaavu naye nga wabeerawo abantu abaagala definitely abalemesa abaagala okulemesa mu ngeri emu oba endala, naddala abatiisa abakozi baabwe mu bitongole gye tugenda okuwa information. Kwegamba wayinza okubeerawo ki obuzibu kati bw'ogenda mu kitongole okunoonyereza oyinza okusangayo obuzibu okufunira ddala information gy'okola ki gye weetaaga. So mu mbeera efaana bw'etyo tufuna obuzibu.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, the Right Honourable Speaker guided very well that I should allow the IGG to do the Lord's work. So for every second,
the lifestyle audit is supposed to be a partnership between us who have instruments of authority and the general public who have information. The general public have to share that information with us, and for us we shall use our instrument of authority to follow up. And I gave an example. If somebody steals money from Kampala and maybe constructs a mall in Karamoja or in my village in Kooki, it's very difficult for me to know what he has done in Karamoja. But the neighbor or the relative or somebody who has information will bring it to me, and I'll use my instruments of authority to apprehend that person. So I need people to understand that the lifestyle audit will work very well indeed, if people understand the partnership between us who seek information and the public who have such information. But yes, we are trying to implement it through verification of declared assets, because all public servants have to declare their assets, income and liability to the Inspectorate of Government. And the Constitution or the law requires that when they declare, we verify. Under declaration is what? Is a breach. Under declaration, non-declaration, all those are breaches that can be followed up in the lifestyle audit campaign. But we are also terribly under-resourced. As I was explaining to the Speaker, there are 380,000 public servants. 380,000 public servants. And we are supposed to follow up each of those public servants. They are supposed to declare to the Inspectorate of Government, and we are supposed to verify. But the resources that are appropriated for this function are extremely they are very, very small compared to the load that we have to do. But lifestyle audit is still a good strategy that we need to build up.
Kamya Namisango, my father's daughter. I'm the Deputy IGG Betty Kamya, the Chairperson of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, where IGG falls, the Clerk to Parliament, the Fourth Estate. You're all most welcome to Parliament of Uganda. Karibuni sana. We want to welcome you to Parliament. It is a routine that you always have to bring or submitting your reports. It's a constitutional obligation, and since it's a constitutional obligation, we want to thank you so much for really doing that, because as of yesterday we had somebody complaining on the floor that some of these institutions don't submit in their reports, but IGG has been very consistent. We want to thank IGG for that. And we want to thank you for the good work you're doing. We do appreciate the work that you're doing for this country. And it is you and us to bring change in this country. And we want to thank you for the good work you're doing. And we will always give you our unwavering support as Parliament towards that. I also want to ask the Chair Legal that when IGG comes to knock on your door, I want you to accord them the highest support that they will always need, because they do a great job, which we do appreciate as a country, and we as Parliament, we know what you're doing, and the country knows what you're doing. We want to thank you. On that note, therefore, I hand it over to the IGG to hand over the report that they have brought.
So since you have laid out the protocol, I will only recognize Chair of the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee and the Clerk to Parliament, and we shall write on the protocol that you laid out. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to first of all thank you for receiving us, and we are here, as explained by yourself indeed, in fulfillment of Article 231 of the Constitution of Uganda as amended, to submit our report to Parliament for the period January to June 2023 and June to December 2023 and January to June 2024. And before you is a delegation from the Inspectorate of Government, and with your permission, I would like to introduce my colleague, Dr. Patricia Achan Okiria, who is the Deputy Inspector General of Government. Next to her is Mrs. Rose Kafero, Secretary to the Inspectorate of Government. And next to her is Mr. James Penyui. He's the Director of Research, Education and Advocacy, and he's responsible for putting this document together. If there are any I's which are not crossed or T's which are not crossed or I's which are not dotted, you know whom to skin. We have Mr. Pole Muhirwe. He's the Director in charge of Special Investigation, and Mrs. Sarah Birungi Kalibala, who is the Director for Legal Affairs. Mrs. Munira Ali, she's the Manager for Strategic Partnerships and Public Relations. And colleagues, the other support staff. Allow me to just introduce you as support staff who do a lot of work to the Inspectorate of Government. Right Honorable, we are representing a workforce of 417 employees deployed at the IG headquarters and 16 regional offices. We appreciate Parliament for enacting and enabling laws and appropriating the budget for execution of the Inspectorate of Government mandate. We also applaud your effort, Madam Speaker, and that of the Committees on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee and the Budget Committee that enabled the Inspectorate of Government budget to be increased from 79.4 billion to 81.7 billion in this current financial year. We appreciate that very much. We'd also like to register our sincere appreciation to all the members of Parliament for their continued support and good working relationship with the IG, and I'm hopeful that with your continued support, the Inspectorate will be provided with the necessary funding and support to ensure effective implementation of our mandate. This is a very crucial matter, Right Honorable Speaker, because our view is that the Inspectorate of Government is categorized as a consumptive sector, but in reality, it is not a consumptive sector. In reality, we are mandated to save money, to recover money, and to stamp out corruption. You've heard us speak, Madam Speaker, that a scientific research was done, and this country is estimated to lose up to 10 trillion shillings per year to corruption. If the Inspectorate of Government was adequately funded, this figure could significantly come down. 10 trillion per year is nearly 44% of our domestic revenue, generated revenue. So when 44% of domestic revenue is lost to corruption and nothing much is done to stop that, I think is overlooking a very important sector of the economy. Madam Speaker, the Inspectorate of Government, as you know, our mandate is to promote just utilization of public resources, and it is derived from the functions as enshrined under Article 225 of the Constitution of Uganda as amended. We execute our mandate through the performance of 4 cardinal roles, that is, the anti-corruption function, the ombudsman function, enforcement of the leadership code of conduct function, and the research, education, and advocacy function. I hope that you have this document. I'm just wondering, Madam Speaker. Our organization structure is listed below. I'm just giving a summary. We function under the Directorate of Finance and Administration, the Directorate of Ombudsman Affairs, the Directorate of Leadership Code, Special Investigations, Anti-Corruption, Research, Education and Advocacy, and we also have a Directorate of Risk Monitoring and Control, +1 for searching for strategic partnerships and public relations, as well as Information and Internal Inspection Division. The Internal Inspection Division is our own IGG within the IGG to ensure that there is strict adherence to rules and regulations within the IGG ourselves. And we also have a compliance unit that follows up orders and directives and recommendations arising out of the IG investigations. We have a unit that follows it up. Madam Speaker, under the IG strategic priority, during the reporting periods, the Inspectorate of Government prioritized prevention of corruption as the main approach in the elimination of corruption and promotion of strict adherence to the rule of law. Through this prevention method, Madam Speaker, we have kind of opened up the IG, Inspectorate of Government, to the public. We are inviting the public to join the war against corruption and to recognize themselves as victims of corruption. And this has been achieved through mobilization of the citizens to own the war against corruption by empowering them to fight corruption. In addition, we continue to monitor and inspect projects of government. We investigate, prosecute, and recover proceeds of corruption. The IG management has also embarked on the journey for digital transformation to enhance efficiency and effectiveness in the process. And at this point, I'd like to say that this is a point where we really need your support, Right Honorable Speaker, for digitalization of our functions. As we speak today, our functions are about 20% digital and about 80% analog. That makes our functions very slow and indeed compromises our efficiency. Furthermore, we conducted research on the cost and extent of corruption in recruitment of staff by district service commissions. The research was conducted in 20 districts across the country, and we also conducted another study on the cost-benefit analysis of outsourcing private recruitment firms by government departments and agencies. The research was undertaken as a result of various complaints received on issues of irregular recruitment by commissions, and preliminary findings confirm widespread corruption in recruitment process in government, especially in the district service commissions. The final report is expected soon and it will be publicized. Right Honorable Speaker, we are now here to submit the Inspectorate of Government biannual performance report, and in the table before you is a summary, but the report, the complete reports are here, and we have brought many copies for Parliament. I will briefly take you through the summary of what is contained in the main report in this table, and we show you the progression from the later half of 2022, July to December 2022. We compare it with July, similar period in July to December 2023, and then January to June 23 and January to June 24. Most of the work that we do is generated through complaints that we receive from the public. And in July to December 2022, we received a total of 1,068 complaints. The following year, the same period, they had risen to 1,276. And in January to June, they had risen further to 1,309. And in the last period under review, January to June 2024, the complaints had risen to 1,657. And we attribute this growth to our engagement with the public, so that people know more and more that they can report to the Inspectorate of Government. With your permission, I'll probably not go through the entire table, or if you prefer me to do that, I can still do it. But we are showing the new complaints that are registered. We'll also show the investigations that were carried out, the investigations that were concluded, the corruption. We divide them into investigations of corruption. Some are ombudsman functions, and others are in breaches of the leadership code. They are categorized in that way. We have also indicated the funds that have been ordered for recovery, ranging from 33 billion in July to December 2022, and then 10 billion in the next half of the year, and 15 billion in the other half of the years. This is the money that we confirm that was stolen, and we order that it be recovered. Some of it is recovered in assets, and we have confiscated assets worth 2.3 billion, 2.7 billion, 5 billion, and this year alone 2.3 billion in assets have been confiscated. We have also cases for prosecution in court from 30, 40, and 25 and 38 cases that are in court for prosecution, and currently our conviction rate is 71%, the conviction rate. We do verify, Madam Speaker, you remember that you launched the declaration of assets period last year in March of 2023, and since that time we expected declaration from 380,000 public servants, and we achieved a declaration of about 88%, and we are supposed to verify all those declarations. This year alone, we have verified about 532 declarants. Of course, a very, very small margin, but all this is because of resource limitation. The figure was raised by an amendment to this act from 25,000 people who are supposed eligible for declaration of their assets to 380,000 without raising the resources at all. And we find this anomaly necessary for Parliament to consider as the committee considers our budget. But we did raise this with the with our budget, with our committee that supervises us. We have, Madam Speaker, inspected this year alone over 1,000 projects of government. Government projects, we inspect them and we monitor their performance, and under the leadership of my colleague, we have inspected over 1,000 government projects. From the above table, Madam Speaker, it is evidence that there was an increase in the number of complaints received by the IGG, the number of investigations concluded, funds ordered for recovery, and an improvement in the conviction rate. The increase is attributed to improvement in the internal processes such as prosecution-led investigation and increased citizen engagement. Madam Speaker, I would like to inform you about our major implementation challenges. The big one, of course, Madam Speaker, is inadequate funding by the Inspectorate of Government, and this has led to pile up of cases. We received so many cases, but we are unable, because of the limitations on staff, space, and funds, to deal with them all at once. So we have a huge backlog of cases. Actually, as I speak now, our system has over 5,000 cases waiting to be investigated. We also have a very old fleet of vehicles that are very costly to maintain. And Madam Speaker, we also have a very high turnover of staff due to lower remuneration compared to government agencies in the same category. For instance, the judiciary, they have, since the enhancement, they have much better terms of service and also terms of exit. And that sees a lot of migration from the Inspectorate of Government to the other. Of course, that takes away the experience that we would have built over time, the resources we have built in training, and all that goes with it moves as fast as the staff move to other agencies. We also have a big problem of failure of government agencies to resolve service delivery grievances at source. Increase in complexity and sophistication of corruption in government. Most government systems, Madam Speaker, not just the IG, are still analog, which lacks audit trail and is hard to monitor. This leads to delays in services rendered and thus facilitating more and more corruption. Madam Speaker, I would like to end this summary with some recommendations. In order to ensure that the Inspectorate of Government effectively implements our mandate, we recommend the following. We would like to ask for the following. One, government, some of the outstanding activities that we have, government should provide a budget of 45 billion to enable the Inspectorate of Government head office project to be completed. This is a project that is running almost into a decade. We are trying to construct offices, and this will save our budget of nearly 3 billion shillings per year. In addition, for digitalization, and this is a key requirement if we are to measure up to some of the institutions of government that we have to monitor that are highly digitalized. Our a journey for digitalization will require an estimate of $10 million. Government should also consider increasing the IG budget for operations, new vehicles, and equipment, and the 5th National Integrity Survey and staff training and recruitment. Madam Speakers, it is recommended that ministries, departments and agencies and local governments should establish or activate internal grievance handling mechanisms to ensure complaints are resolved promptly and effectively at source. We also recommend that government should fast-track digitalization and digital transformation in all government institutions, and also train oversight staff in forensics and cyber crime. The government should urgently conduct a salary review for all public servants to have a fair and just remuneration for all public servants. In conclusion, Right Honorable Speaker, as I hand over the report to you, would like to thank you for giving the Inspectorate of Government the opportunity to present to you the 50th and 51st biannual Inspectorate of Government performance reports to Parliament. It is our prayer that the reports are laid before Parliament for discussion in accordance with Article 231, subsection 3 of the 1995 Constitution as amended. It is now my honor, Right Honorable Speaker, to hand over the report to you. We have two sets of reports, Madam Speaker. One is July, December 2023, and the other one is January to June. And we are also joined by Mrs. Anne Haley. Oh, these ones we give them to the clerk to Parliament.
Delivering the reports and complying with the constitutional obligation under Article 231 of the Constitution of Republic of Uganda. We sincerely want to congratulate you. And pursuant to Article 231(3) of the Constitution of Republic of Uganda, I will cause the reports to be laid on the House at the earliest time possible. And I'm happy the chair is here. And this will be referred to the Committee of Parliamentary Affairs for scrutiny and report back to the House. So we shall have these reports laid on table next Thursday. I recognize the critical and ever-increasing need that is in IGG in terms of budgetary requirement. I've just had your analog. I think you're one of the institutions that is analog, and it would be good if you went digital for you to do an audit trail to find out what is happening in all other centers of yours. So it is one of the things that chairperson you should consider looking at, and the issue of them having their own home. I hope you have visited the site. You visited the site. We need a report on that and see how best we can be able to support IG on that, because they are spending a lot of money on renting, and if we can get that money and we can get money to give them for completing the building, that would be a very good thing. As Parliament, we will continue with our role of oversight. We will always do oversight on you. We will do our legislation, and most importantly, we will do appropriation for you to be able to get what can enable you to do the work that you're supposed to do. And lastly, I know you're creating awareness to the public about corruption, about misuse of government funds and that kind of thing. I want you to really increase on that awareness outside there. Create a lot of awareness. Create friendship with these people. When you create friendship with these people, they will be able to tell you so and so, Patricia took this. and that's why that will be a starting point. So when you go on the radios, I was in Eastern Uganda and I heard Patricia speaking on the radio, and I said, hey, so this is what now has happened. I was very impressed. I was very, very impressed. And you'd find people saying, now don't joke with IGG. Anything you take, they will come for you. So when you create awareness, it will reduce somehow some kind of corruption that is outside there. I want to thank you once more for coming over. All of you for coming over. Now today you are all three here. The whole inspectorate is here. We want to thank you. We don't want to take a lot of your time. You never know, by the time you leave here, in between, another person will have stolen a lot somewhere. I want to thank you for coming. And always, this is your home. Parliament is your home. Where you need support, we are here. We are here. I have told you the only thing Parliament cannot change is change a woman into a man. But we can do everything. We can do everything, and we just want you to work with us. We support each other. We are one. We belong to one government. We belong to one government, and we will always support you unconditionally. I want to thank the good Lord for really enabling of saying that we want to have these reports looked at, because as now we are about to go for recess, the chairman should be able to look at your reports properly. And I say all this for God and my country. Parliament is your home. Where you need support, we are here. We are here. I have told you the only thing Parliament cannot change is change a woman into a man. But we can do everything. We can do everything, and we just want you to work with us. We support each other. We are one. We belong to one government. We belong to one government, and we will always support you unconditionally.